So sing with me, don't laugh at me, don't call me names, don't get your pleasure from my pleasure. Don't laugh at me, don't call me names, don't call me names, don't get your pleasure. Don't get your pleasure from my pain, from my pain in God's eyes. In God's eyes, we're all the same. Someday we'll all perfect wings to fly. Don't laugh at me. Yes, I'm fat and thin, I'm short and tall, I'm deaf, I'm blind, I'm disabled in a way who's perfect here. I'm black, I'm white, and I'm brown. I'm Jewish, I'm Christian, I'm Muslim, I'm Buddhist, I'm Hindu, I'm agnostic. I was born in Sarajevo, I was born in Kosovo, I was born in Northern Ireland, I was born in Africa. I'm Hutu, I'm Tutsi, I'm gay, I'm lesbian. I am American, Indian, I'm very, very young, I'm quite Asian. Born in Iraq and Afghanistan, born in Sudan, Mexico, Canada, United States of America. I'm Israeli, I'm Palestinian, I'm very wealthy, I'm very, very poor. Don't laugh at me. Please smile at me. Please be my friend. Please accept me the way I am. No one should be left out. We all should be included. Someday we'll all have perfect wings. Don't laugh at me. Last time with me, don't laugh at me. Here we go. Don't laugh at me, don't call me names, don't call me, don't get your pleasure. Don't get your pleasure from my pain, from my pain. In God's eyes, we're all the same. Someday we'll all have perfect wings. Don't laugh at me. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Don't laugh at me, don't laugh at me. We get right down to it. What are we talking about? If we want to stop this, all of it, it's all about, on some level, respect. When we were marching in the Civil Rights Movement, it was about respect for people of color. It's about a very, very young form of disrespect called racism. Before the Civil Rights Movement crystallized, in our country's capital, Washington, D.C., if you were a person of color, you could not use a public restroom facility unless it said for colored only. In 1963. And it's true also of a water fountain. Marian Anderson, an African-American Metropolitan Opera singer, could not sing in Constitution Hall where Peter Paul and Mary did concerts. And you couldn't vote if you were a person of color in many states. And yet people said, with liberty and justice for all. What hypocrisy. Now, at the time, Peter, Paul, and Mary got involved in that. We were already singing songs that related to this reality. And we believed that to try to make our country more just, so that we could mean it when we said liberty and justice for all, not justice except unless you're black or African American or a person of color. We believed that doing that challenged the law of the country, was a patriotic act. How many of you think that involvement with the civil rights movement was anti-American? What do you mean? We were breaking the law. We were advocating that the law be broken. The people of color go in there and sit on lunch counters. Sit at lunch counters. No. We were advocating that people, in a non-violent, like the whole effort was loving and non-violent. When those young black people sat at the lunch counter and the first wave came in and beat them up, and then the police came and arrested them, they gave them a good period of time to get that work done. And they said, okay, that's the end of them. But then there was another wave. And they came there. They did not resist, and they did not hit back. They let themselves be beaten. And they did it a third time. And another wave came in. And they had trained themselves to be nonviolent and not to react to it. What courage that took. But that was their only weapon. What were they going to do? Pick up guns? No. They learned, because their leadership had learned from Mahatma Gandhi. I am here, I'm doing the just thing. If you want to shed my blood, that's your karma. That's what will happen to you. And after the third wave, they stopped. They knew they were stuck. What was that weapon? The weapon of love, humility. But nobody raised their hand saying that we who sang and marched, and we were on the Selma Montgomery March, and we were at that march on Frankfurt, Kentucky, and we got a letter saying, if you come, and Mary was pregnant, we're going to kill you. We were young, we thought we were eternal, and we were indestructible, and we went. So we were opposing the law of the land, right? And yet you say, we were not unpatriotic? Are you sure of that? Are you sure? I'm going to ask you again. How many of you think that we who marched to defy the law of the land were unpatriotic? Raise your hands. Now let me ask the other question. How many of you think that that was an act of love for our country? Raise your hands. And anybody who didn't, I'd be interested to know why you feel that way, but I didn't see anybody. No, we love America. We loved America. There are people say, oh, you're unpatriotic. You're not a good American. No, we want our country to be just. Thank you. And the laws are not necessarily just. If they were, then they wouldn't change. And they do. Here's a song that relates to that. Was it leaving, baby, to jail for justice? want to shake your hand, 'cause sitting in and lying down, we used to take a stand, and sung the song for freedom, or march the picket line. Have you been to jail for justice? No friend of mine. Okay. Mic check. Mic check. I want to teach you. I want to teach you the lyrics of the chorus to this song. Have you been to jail for justice? I want to shake your hand. 'Cause sitting in and lying down are ways to take a stand. Have you sung a song for freedom? Or marched the picket line? Have you been to jail for justice? Then you're a friend of mine. Okay, here we go. Okay. To jail for justice, I want to shake your hand, 'cause sitting in and lying on ways to take a stand. Have you sung the song for freedom, or marched the picket line? Have you been to jail for justice? And you're a friend of mine. You law-abiding citizens, come listen to this song, 'cause laws were made by people, and people can be wrong. Once unions were against the law, but slavery was fine. Women were denied the vote, and children were denied. The more you study history, the less you can deny it. A rotten law stays on the books till folks with guts defy it. I said folks with guts defy it. Have you been to jail for justice? I want to shake your hand, 'cause sitting in and lying down ways to take a stand. Have you sung a song for freedom, or marched the picket line? Have you been to jail for justice? Then you're a friend of mine. Well, the law is supposed to serve us, so the police. But when the system fails, it's up to us to speak our piece. We must be ever vigilant for justice to prevail. So get courage from your convictions and let them haul you off to jail. Have you been to jail for justice? I want to shake your hand, 'cause sitting in and lying down are ways to take a stand. Have you sung a song for freedom, or marched the picket line? Have you been to jail for justice? Then you're a friend of mine. Have you been to jail for justice? Have you been to jail for justice? Have you been to jail for justice? Then you're a friend of mine. Has encouraged, designed, nurtured for a decade. And I support you with all my heart. I am a Jew. No. Am I deriding Israel because I'm supporting the peace process? I love Israel. I want Israel to be a just nation, just like I wanted America to be a just nation. And I still want America to be a just nation. Thank you very much. And the reemergence of racism with the cradle-to-jail phenomenon of African Americans is horrific. But we will continue We have to preserve justice in every generation, or it will go away. That's what If I Had a Hammer says. If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning. In the evening, I'll go, hammer out danger, the hammer of warning. What is the warning, the danger? It's the hammer of justice. If we don't preserve it, it's going away. The bell of freedom. If we don't preserve it, it's going away. And what is the mechanism by this? It's a song about the love between. If we love each other, that's the antidote. It's all there in that song. I am not anti-Semitic. I am not anti-Israel. I am deeply pro-Israel. And I believe that the policies of Israel, which are independent of, just like, our government doesn't necessarily do just things. Never did. The people, what is just for the country is just for the country. And you struggle to make sure that your country does the right thing and the just thing. Right now, the policies of Israel are unjust and destructive to themselves. The inability to bring a peace process, just look at the demographics. Shortly, there will be no possibility of the promise of a Jewish nation, or it'll have to be an apartheid society, because the population alteration will make Jews a minority. There is an occupation for 45 years. How does the world feel about Jews and Israel? Is that helping? Is it really in the best interest of Israel? Is Israel really threatened in that way? When I went there in 1989, at the second part of the Intifada, and I visited Gaza and West Bank and Israel and Syria and Jordan on a human rights expedition, half of the people there were peaceniks. Were they anti-Israel? They didn't happen to have a government that represented their point of view. Were they disloyal? Did they not love their country? So this dismissal of Jews who want the best for Israel as being, and you can just, that's like calling Peter, Paul, and Mary communists. Far from it, thank you. It's a label that could just annihilate you. But it's ridiculous. All I want is for people to find a mechanism to walk in each other's shoes and end the terrible, terrible burden of the people living under an occupation, and the burden in Israel of fear and the expectation that the next person around the corner is going to be part of another genocide. Got to get beyond that. I just wrote a song with the Dalai Lama. Aha, you think I'm kidding, right? It's not true. I'm very serious. The Dalai Lama wrote a poem, of kind of a fragment, and the president of Warner Brothers Records Japan called me up and said, "Can you turn this into a song?" And I looked at it and I said to myself, "Not easily." First of all, it's not in song form. Secondly, it's not the Dalai Lama's first language. But he said, "It's very important for you to do that for us." So I did, and I've recorded it. And a lot of these, most of these words are his. And it's pretty simple. And I'm going over to Japan. They're going to have a big to-do when it's presented. And Mr. Lama and Mr. Yarrow are going to meet. Well, I did meet the Dalai Lama, His Holiness. And these are his words. And listen to them, because what motivates me then? I'm pro-Palestinian people, I'm pro-Palestine. Oh, some of you will say, or I've heard people say, "Show me Palestine on the map." There's no Palestine. How insulting. How stupid a thing to say. How can you possibly do that? But there it is. There is ignorance. And that too is destructive. But here's Dalai Lama. Hello? Who is this? Oh, hello, Dalai. Okay. Never give up, no matter the pain and sorrow. Never give up. You'll find your tomorrow. Compassionate heart, it will lead you. Your loving heart, it will free you to never give up. Never give up. Love everyone, love all strangers, love even your enemies. Love everyone, and everyone will join you to work for peace, to work for peace. Never give up. No matter the pain and sorrow, never give up. You'll find your tomorrow. Compassionate heart, it will lead you. Your loving heart, it will free you to never give up. Never give up. Love everyone, love all strangers, love even your enemies. Love everyone, and everyone will join you to work for peace, to work for peace. Never give up. Never give up, 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 never give up.
Amazing program. If you haven't seen it, you need to Google Peter Yarrow and Bill Moyers. It's really an amazing
What
program.
was going on though?
Oh, the dialogue. Actually, what was most amazing is just the love and empathy the parents of this child displayed that Francine and her husband were on. It's really
she lost her
incredible.
child, but instead of hating, instead of wanting to get a gun herself, she has become this huge advocate for building the Sandy Hook Promise. And this show will be a television show, but you go to that same website and you'll see an hour of it. And it's so moving. So, this is the song that I sang there. And this is the song that my brother Michael, where's my brother Michael? Where did he go?
Home.
He went home?
He's back there.
Oh, there he is, okay. This is for you, my brother. And this song meant so much there. And it means so much when I sing it in Israel and in Palestine. And I was just over in Jordan, singing it. I was singing it at the King's Academy, which is an extraordinary school. And now the embassy, American Embassy in Jordan, is paying for us to launch Operation Respect in Jordan and in the refugee camps. So here is the song. But here it is. Listen to the words. And imagine how it affected those people at the gathering for Newtown. It says, they say that the tree of loving, shine on me again, grows on the bank of the river of suffering, shine on me again. Weave, weave, weave me the sunshine out of the falling rain. Weave me the hope of a new tomorrow and fill my cup again. The song was saying to them, Yes, take this sadness, which is what we all must do. We must take this pain, this historical pain that we inherit, and turn it into love and determination, so that we don't have to watch people's hearts broken, people subjugated. So we don't have to live through the kind of hostility and absence of empathy that plagues our nation and our children. Let us weave from this pain, here and anywhere we go, a greater ability to turn what we see into more heart, humanity, caring, love, and healing. They say that the tree of loving shine on me again. They say it grows on the bank of the river of suffering. Shine on me again. We made the sunshine out of the falling rain. We made the hope of a new tomorrow fill my cup again. We made the sunshine out of the falling rain. We made the hope of a new tomorrow fill my cup again. Try that with me. We made the sunshine out of the falling rain. We made the hope. We made the hope of a new tomorrow fill my cup again. Once again now we made the falling out of the falling rain. We made the hope. We made the hope of a new tomorrow fill my cup again. If only I could hear your sorrow shine on me again. I hope you to find your new tomorrow shine on me again. We made the sunshine out of the falling rain. We made the hope of a new tomorrow fill my cup again. We made the sunshine out of the falling rain. We made the hope of a new tomorrow and fill my cup again. We made the sunshine out of the falling rain. We made the hope of a new tomorrow fill my cup again. Do it again. We made the sunshine out of the falling rain. We made the hope of a new tomorrow fill my cup again. Sing it now. We made the sunshine out of the falling rain. We made the hope of a new tomorrow fill my cup again. I've seen the steel and the concrete crumble shine on me again. The proud and the mighty all have stumbled shine on me again. We made the sunshine out of the falling rain. We made a hope of a new tomorrow fill my cup again. Only you can climb that mountain, shine on me again. If you want to drink at the golden fountain, shine on me again. Sing it now, now. We made the sunshine out of the falling rain. Yeah, like that. We made the hope of a new tomorrow fill my cup again. Again. We made the sunshine out of the falling rain. We made the hope of a new tomorrow fill my cup once again. Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Holly. Little Jackie Paper loved that rascal Puff and brought him strings and sealing wax and other fancy stuff. Everybody sing Puff, the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Holly. Oi! Puff, the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Holly. Together they would travel on a boat with billowed sail. Jackie kept a lookout perched on Puff's gigantic tail. Noble kings, noble kings, noble kings. Noble kings and princes would bow whene'er they came. Pirate ships would lower their flags when Puff brought out his name. Oh, Puff, the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Holly. Yes! Oi, Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Holly. The dragon lives forever, but not some little girls and boys. Why do I say little girls? Why would I change the lyric after all we said? Is that not sacrilegious? Well, I changed it because I can. If you look at the Puff book, you'll see in the last couple of pages, in the regular book, in the pop-up, Puff pops up, and he looks over there and there's a little girl. And you can feel him saying, "What are you doing in my song?" And then you open the little packet on the lower right-hand side, in which the CD is housed. You take it out, and there's Jackie, all grown up. And all of a sudden, if it's a child, they know that's Jackie's daughter. So here's the good news. 3-part good news. Number 1, Puff is no longer lonely. Number 2, little girls can go to Humbly. Number 3, Puff is not about grass. You heard it from the dragon's father's mouth. The dragon lives forever, but not so little girls and boys. Painted wings and giant's rings make way for other toys. One great night it happened, Jackie Paper came no more, and Puff, that mighty dragon, he ceased his fearless roar. His head was bent in sorrow, green scales fell like rain. Puff no longer went to play along the cherry lane. Without his lifelong friend, Puff could not be brave. So Puff, that mighty dragon, silently slipped into his cave softly. Puff, the magic dragon, lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist. Oh, Puff, the magic lives present tense, still is by the sea, frolics and frolics in the autumn mist, in a land called Anali. In New York, which I celebrate each year. And the I was just on the Japanese peace boat for a week, and they're whatever it is. They are the survivors of Hiroshima, and they come over. And I said, the claim person asked, how many of you know what to do? I said to them, tomorrow, to try and make the world a more peaceful place where we will have a diminishing possibility of the repetition of nuclear exchange. And no, like yourselves, nobody raised their hands. And I said, I'll tell you what we can do right now. It can be an act of peace, not reflection on, but an act of peace. I said, face west and sing, blowing in the wind with me, and in your heart saying, notwithstanding military considerations or anything else that can be brought up, my heart is heavy with the pain that my country caused you with the dropping of the bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. This is not an act of betrayal. This is an act of love, an act of apology, and asking for forgiveness. Forgive me. I may not have done it, but I inherit this legacy. Please forgive me. And it will be felt there. And we did it, and this thing blowing in the wind. It was very powerful. And in the end, I had to run to my guitar case to put it away because I had to go to my next, I had a benefit to do. And this old guy, you know, runs up to me and he wants to take, he's got a camera in his hand. Oh, no! No, I gotta go. I said, no, you don't understand. I have to talk to you, you don't understand. So even though I was late already, I said, yes, what is it? He said, I came here to say, please forgive me for the harm we in Japan did to you in the Second World War. I was speechless. But that is where we have to get, folks. We have to get to a place where we have the capacity to say, I'm sorry, and forgive ourselves, and forgive others, and be forgiven. We're not very good at that. Not at all. So, if you will join me in singing Blowing in the Wind, and decide on the target for you in terms of your heart, whether it's personal, where it's as an American, just as a human being, and say in my heart, I'm singing this, and saying, please, forgive me. And it will be a powerful moment for us to share. And we'll sing, the answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind, okay? I'll give you a moment just to think about how you're going to dedicate this, and I will too. I think for me, I'm going to say, forgive me, my Jewish friends, for seeming to be disrespectful of my heritage. I don't mean to be. I mean to love you. Forgive me, my friends in Israel, if I, as an American, oppose your government's point of view. I do not think it is doing you justice. Forgive me for being presumptuous, to say I have a right to try to build justice, even in another country. I do not mean to be filled with hubris. And forgive me if if I have offended you, because it's not my intention. It's my intention to love you. How many roads must a man walk down before they call him a man? How many seas must a white dove sail? How many seas must a white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand? How many times must the cannonballs fly? How many times must the cannonballs fly before they're forever banned? The answer, my friend. The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing. Once again, the answer is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many times must a man look up before he can see the sky? How many years must one man have before he can hear people cry? How many deaths will it take too many people have died? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many years can a mountain exist before it is washed to the sea? How many years can some people exist? How many years can some people exist before they're allowed to be free? How many times can a man turn his head? How many times can a man turn his head and pretend that he just doesn't see? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. The answer, my friend. The answer.